Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review, and discuss fantasy, science fiction books. Today, I am going to be reading, reviewing, and discussing, with full spoilers, Chapter 201 for The Wandering Inn. So, we've moved on to Book 2 of The Wandering Inn, which I believe is called Fey and Fair? You know, I listened to the audiobook for the last two chapters, so I've not actually seen the cover of the ebook in a while. So yeah, we're on book 2. Somebody recommended that for chapter 2.00 I listened to the audiobook to get an idea of all the different kinds of voices that Andrea Parsano could do. And so I did that, and I enjoyed the audiobook experience. Weirdly, I don't like some of the voices, or don't like is the wrong term, but like some of the voices are a bit like much. Does that make sense? I hope I'm not trying to criticize Andrea Parsano. I think that what I was really wanting from the Wandering Inn audiobook was less of a dramatization, more of a reading. It's hard to, it's weird. I did enjoy it, but I felt like I was like, oh, maybe some of these voices are going a bit far. Like, weirdly, the one that really stuck out to me was Ryoka's voice, because she talks like this. Like, I don't think I've met any woman in my life who talks like that, who doesn't do it on purpose, as like, I don't know, a thing. That hard to talk about, hard to explain. Anyway, so I've been reading the audiobook. I've actually listened to the audiobook. So I've listened to chapter 201 and 202 on the audiobook. I'm recording the review now for 201, which I listened to a few days ago when I went out for a little walk. And I just finished 202. And my thought was, well, if I've got time to record them this evening, because it's getting kind of late, I will record both and then edit both, and then they'll go up Wednesday, Thursday. If not, I might record 202 tomorrow. However, I really wanted to do a double chapter week for The Wandering Inn, because I've had a few comments lately saying any chance of any double chapter weeks, because it's been a while. I think we haven't had a double chapter week since like the last 10 chapters of book 1 had a few double chapter weeks in, but not the last few weeks. So it's been a while, I think, since a double chapter. Anyway, we're doing a double chapter book, double chapter week. Next week, I don't know if I've got space in the schedule for 2 chapters, because I have the full spoiler discussion with my buddy Matt from Basking in the Story of book 6 of The Wheel of Time. So yeah, I'll leave that for now. But great to be back in the world of Wandering Inn, and I am really enjoying being able to skip between the ebook and the audiobook, and like I suggested and said I thought it would be, it is making it a lot easier for me to fit in the book, as normally I basically would have to make the time on my Thursdays to sit down and read the latest chapter, then record the review, edit the review and post it, and that would be my whole lunchtime on Thursday. Whereas now, I, for example, this evening had to go out and post a birthday card for my granddad, and I listened to half of the chapter while walking to the post box and back, and then another half of the chapter while sitting here and playing a game on my phone. So it's felt like it's been much more chill, and it's been nice reading it this way. Anyway, I've got a cream soda tonight. 5 minutes in and we haven't started the recap, so let's get going. So we start with all of the Liscor supporting characters So like Kershia, Zavara, who's kind of new to the cast. She was in Volume 1 a little bit. And then Kilb, and I think Relk is here as well. Is Relk here? I don't actually. Yes, Relk is here. So a ton of the supporting cast are here. Interestingly, Kissenveer is still around. I kind of thought that he was like, when he was retired from being Prognigator, I thought he was murdered. Although obviously at the end of this chapter we find out that he's the Prognigator again, because Klebich is a new job with a new name forthcoming, like Hero of the Antinium or whatever. So everyone wants to see Erin for multiple different reasons. So her friends want to go and like celebrate with her. Kissenveer is, I think, forced to go. And Zavara just kind of wants to see her because everyone's saying that she killed Skinner, which is interesting. They talk about goblins being invited, and we then get to Ryoka and Erin. So Ryoka and Erin have just realised that they're both from Earth. And it says, oh my god, it was the 6th time Erin had said it, which is quite funny. She's just basically saying, oh my god, over and over again. They're talking about, interestingly, so Ryoka's like, I came here in 2016 in October, and she doesn't ask Erin anything, so she doesn't say like, Erin. Well, she like keeps trying to get Erin to tell her when she came, but it never materializes. We don't actually find out, I don't think. And then Erin hugs Ryoka and he's crying, which is nice, really. And then what happens next? Oh, she's thinking about the other people on the call. So she's then thinking about the worry that she has of our human technology interacting with the magic world. But also, I think one of the other worries she has is the magic going to our world. And she actually says here, the 2 people was unusual, but more was an open gateway, and no door opened in only one direction. Which is actually incorrect. I don't know how many times, I think I probably even did it today, walked into a door that said push, or pull, and tried to push it, and it wouldn't open. So that kind of is a one-way door. I don't know. Is that a one-way door? Am I being dumb? But anyway, I thought it was a funny line, and it really stood out to me in the audiobook. I was like, there are kind of one-way doors. Anyway, so Ryoka gets snot on her t-shirt from Erin, which is funny. And then it seems like all of the other characters have been invited to the inn. So Erin says there's a knock on the door, and Ryoka's like, oh, you're expecting guests? And then Erin goes, oh no, but maybe they're just late. So like, not sure what that dialogue's referring to. Like, if she's not expecting anyone, but maybe they're late, that doesn't really make sense. Maybe she's meaning like late in the day. Ryoka then just completely freaks out seeing all of the non-humans. So we've got Antinium, we've got what's Kershia called? Null. Antinium, Null, Drakes, and lots of going on. And Erin's like, Klivich, is that porn? And Kissenbeer? Which is funny. Then the goblins come in, and Ryoka's like very worried, but Erin like doesn't care. Then Pisces turns up, all like, and they specifically talk about how his robes are dirty and like kind of grim, which is quite funny. Then Ryoka is like still, so she's kind of like, she gets over kind of all the non-humans, but like she's then like, now I have to be social, and she obviously hates that because that's the kind of person she is. So people are trying to talk to her and she doesn't want to. Like, she's not engaging, if that makes sense. And then Erin tries to tell people that she tries to tell Celes that Ryoka is from her world, and Ryoka like kicks her like, don't do that, which is funny. And then she introduces everyone to Ryoka, and then everyone talks about how everyone thinks that Erin killed Skinner, which is interesting. So she is quite funny because obviously in Volume 1 there's a bit where she's like very widely disliked for having gotten, by, you know, accident, proxy, whatever, having gotten Klivich killed, and then like, I guess now she's going to be like beloved because she got rid of Skinner. And then something's going on. Everyone gets like, what are we? So people are scared about, there's something going on with Ryoka, and like everyone's a bit like, almost like they're gonna like attack Ryoka to protect Erin. And Ryoka's like a bit scared of Torun for a sec. And then you switch over to Erin's POV, and this is great. Ryoka looked like she was having a great time. Erin could tell, which is very funny because obviously Ryoka's having a terrible time. Then Zivara and Erin have a bit of a chat. Let's have a look. And then, yeah, it seems like Zivara wants to like bring Erin in to talk about goblins and Torun, and then Klivich is like, don't do that, which is interesting. Klivich then does a little speech and says that the Antinium have been experimenting with booze and have brewed their own drink called Rixlevin. And they all have a little drink, and you find out later that basically they all pass out absolutely paralytic, which is pretty funny. And then it moves straight, so you don't actually see that happen, but it feels like they basically in fact, here you go. Ryoka felt the top of her mouth go numb. Klivich stared at the human girl as she flopped around on the ground, trying ineffectually to push herself up. He glanced at the other non-Antinium as they began to sway, smile, or regurgitate. I'd forgotten that from the other day when I read it. And then we shift to the Antinium. So the three Antinium are walking back to the hive. They're using the secret entrance outside of town, which feels like is probably a big issue that the Antinium have a secret entrance, but whatever. They are sus. We said before, the Antinium Queen is sus, and I think all the Antinium are sus. There's still something going on there. And Klivich, Porn, and Kissenveer are on the way back, and Klivich is basically laying down the law, and he's like, look, Kissenveer, you are going to be Prognigator again, but I'm going to be above you in the hierarchy. I'm going to report only to the Queen. Porn is outside of the hierarchy, so like Casimir doesn't like command him or whatever because he's not a worker. And Casimir's like, Pawn to Casimir is like, hey, so I fucking hate you because you chopped my arms and legs off. And Casimir's like, yeah, I do think I did the right thing though. And Pawn's like, maybe we could reconnect and bond. Do you want to play chess? So that's quite funny. And then the next thing you see is Celis and Kershia nude in bed together. So that's fun. Obviously nothing happened there. I say obviously, nothing happened there. Kershia says like, oh, she sniffs and she's like, oh, nothing happened. Then several characters have pretty adverse reactions to this alcohol. But then Ryoka and Erin basically Ryoka and Erin are like having a chat, and then they're obviously like paralytics drunk still basically, and Erin's like, look, let's just go to bed, we'll chat tomorrow. So they go to bed, and then 30 minutes later the door explodes in. Pisces comes in, covered in magic, and he basically goes like, they're alive. So he's received a message spell from Cheeria down in the ruins. So I did kind of predict, I feel like last week maybe, that they weren't all dead, or at some point I predicted they weren't all dead. And I said like Cheeria and Kalruz in particular, because they were so important in the books, don't feel like they could be dead with that kind of an unceremonious end, like mostly off screen. So interesting those characters are back. Does kind of feel like a bit of a revolving door of death now for the Wandering Inn, because Klibich died and he's back, and the Horns died and now they're back. So it feels like if you're a named character, maybe you have plot armor, which is slightly less interesting, but I don't imagine that carries on, because I feel like it would be a meme or people would be talking about it, because like in Brandon Sanderson's books, for example, he does that a couple of times and people are like, oh, he's always doing XYZ, when he's only done it like a couple of times in like 30 plus books. Anyway, this was a pretty decent chapter. I really liked the interaction between Ryoka and Erin, and then Ryoka and Erin's friends, and Ryoka's point of view on Erin's friends was fun. Really looking forward to what's going to happen next with, I mean, as you guys know, I have read the next chapter already, but I'm looking forward to what happens next with the Horns of Hammerad and rescuing them from the ruins, which is hopefully coming up, or something like that is coming up. So if you've enjoyed this episode, why don't you chat about it with me in the comments down below. The more comments that you guys leave, the more, I mean, I'll answer every single one of the comments, but the more comments you leave, the more people YouTube will show this video to, the more people might get interested in reading The Wandering Inn. So to spread the good word of The Wandering Inn, to spread the good word of Pirate Arbor, please help my channel grow, because I'm going to continue to promote The Wandering Inn. So, feels like it's a good deal for everyone involved. Also, while you're on the way down there to drop that comment, please give the video a like. Of course, that also helps YouTube know that this kind of content is good and that people like it. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you're notified whenever I put up some Wandering Inn content, which is usually Thursdays 5 PM UK time. Sometimes I'll do a double episode a week. I could even do a triple episode a week if I have a very light schedule on other videos, especially with the rate that I'm reading at the moment. I've already read 2 chapters this week and it's like Wednesday. So yeah, looking forward to reading more Wandering Inn as always, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow.